capacity, one occupation to another. They don't need to retire. They can move on to something else to help people if that's what their goal is, and to assume another position that would give them the ability to continue in their efforts to serve the residents, their constituency. So it doesn't necessarily bring down a wall. It just may be another opportunity. And elections are important. There's no doubt about it that elections the will of the people. But we have so many states, as we've seen in these recent elections, and we have so many areas where the incumbent typically wins the election, right, hands down. Now, Delaware County is not one of those places, but there's many places like that if you're an incumbent, you have a great chance to win again, regardless of how much effort your opponent puts into their race.
And I guess that's the real reason for term limits, is to equalize it, so the incumbent just doesn't ride it through and sleep through it. You said something there about your wife, and I've had a couple people say that, and I've wanted to do something on a show about that. I don't think people realize the people that do things behind the scenes, but behind the scenes of the people that do things behind the scenes are all the people that enable them to do it. And if you took them out of the picture, those people wouldn't be able to do their job.
Absolutely. My wife's been awesome. She has been just tremendous support for me over the years that I've run for office, whether it be running countywide in Delaware County as a councilman twice, or running as the district attorney, which I ran twice in a countywide election. She understands it's a lot of evenings, a lot of meetings, a lot of political events that you have to attend, and she's been nothing but supportive. My children have been nothing but supportive, and so I owe a great deal of debt to them for enabling me to do what I've been able to do. So I understand the importance of having a supportive family.
And that really doesn't get mentioned enough, because I know people that are great at their job in law enforcement, fire, EMS, SAR, and other things, that would be dysfunctional if you took that person behind them out of the way. They wouldn't get their keys to get out the door that they even start their day. And it's just, we sometimes forget that it's, it takes everybody to make something happen. How is your job? And I ask everybody this, because when I was young, I did stuff on a farm, and I've got it built in my head or beat into my head that everything's affected by seasons. Is your job seasonal at all?
Yeah, you raised a good point. I think when I first came into the office, I thought it was seasonal. I thought there was more violence in the hot weather, that we would have more homicides in high humidity. But I don't see it that way anymore. I see it constant. I see it, which is not good, but I see it as a constant. I can't necessarily say that the violence or problems that we encounter are characteristic of one season or another, or one time of the year or another. So I don't see it like I used to see it. I see it as a constant battle anymore on the streets, and trying to make sure people are kept safe.
Okay. So every season you're busy. And I guess in emergency services and public safety in general, part of it is what you said earlier, is that you're never off. It's 24 hours. Things happen when they happen, and it's always urgent, and you don't know when something's going to happen. I mean, that's for me, that's been the exhausting thing about the search and rescue team, is always having to be ready to answer your phone and be upright and coherent at any time, and be willing to respond. And you just get stuck into the loop of doing that, and you forget how to not do it,
Yeah, I agree with that analysis. I think that's accurate.
How has technology impacted your job over your term?
Well, a lot of people don't realize that Delaware County is the housing for the Internet Crimes Against Children unit in the state of Pennsylvania. And we're constantly using technology, in particularly computer technology, cell phone technology, to prevent people from hurting children, from reaching out, predators, from reaching out and trying to contact children, trying to pose as children when they're adults for sexual gratification or otherwise. So we've seen technology change, and it's every crime, actually. We will confiscate, for example, a cell phone in most types of crimes, whether it be a burglary, a robbery, a theft case, especially a homicide. And we'll use it. We'll be able to establish probable cause typically, and get a search warrant in order to access the contents of that phone. But you'd be surprised at all of the information that we can extract from the analysis of getting inside the cell phone, being able to download the emails, the pictures, the text messages. And people think that just because they deleted them, they're not available to us. But we have technology that can actually pull back the deleted emails, the deleted text messages, as long as it's within a certain period of time from the time that they were deleted. And we're able to access that information. And many times it has led to us being able to solve a homicide, for example, or solve a burglary or other type of felony case because of the new technology with cell phones, with computers. And we have the old, of course, school technology that is the fingerprint evidence. We use that still constantly. We use, of course, DNA evidence and technology. But probably the most advanced technology in recent years is our computer forensic team. And we have a big team associated with both our ICAC unit and our major crimes unit.
It's amazing that I watch so many of my friends who are so resistant. I have one friend in particular that is just downright paranoid about Big Brother. And I told him, I said, yet you're always on that phone. And that phone is everything you fear in one place because it tracks us. It learns our behaviors. Whether you're going on Amazon and it's suggesting something, you're going, hey, that's a good idea. And sometimes it gets scary and sometimes it's way off, but it tracks us. I've gone back. I said the other week in here, I'm always railing on other generations about, not remembering things, not learning directions because we use GPS or whatever, but I'm guilty too. I haven't remembered a phone number in 5 years. And you're so dependent on that thing, but it's such a great tool for even looking for a missing person. But I see that there's some people that get so dependent on it that they don't look at other avenues. And I try and look at all avenues, and that's just one other thing to consider. Is there a message that you would like to tell the public about what you do and what your office does and how they can help you do it better?
Well, certainly. I mean, we understand that people sometimes get nervous about reporting crime, and we understand that sometimes they feel they're put in a difficult, if not threatening situation. But we have the ability to obtain information anonymously. You can go onto our website, and there is an icon there called Crime Stoppers, and you can actually report anonymously anything that you want us to know that's happening in your neighborhood. We don't know your name. We don't track your information, so you don't have to give us information. If you want to, you can. There's information that you can provide to us that's on there. However, we're not requesting that. We're just asking for information that may help us solve a crime. And so the people are important. They're important to the police. They're important to the office of the district attorney. And the reason they're so important is because the police are not going to be able to witness or see or hear the average criminal in the criminal enterprise. So we need witnesses. We need people to help us to report this so that we can take a bad person off the street and prosecute that person. So we're always asking people if they would cooperate with us. Will they give us the information they need? If you see something, the adage was, if you see something, say something when you're dealing with suspicious activity, whether it be simple criminal activity or more sophisticated activity, which was more consistent with terrorism and those type of issues. But we're always asking people, report it. If you see somebody on your street, he doesn't belong there, he's acting suspiciously or she's acting suspiciously, call the police. Let them investigate it. If it turns out to be nothing, then no harm, no foul. But if it turns out that this person is looking for a child or this person's looking to burglarize a home, you may have just prevented a crime by taking that type of action, that type of preventive action.
Yeah, and the best thing is the thing that never happens. And it's. I was saying on here last week that the best thing we had when I was growing up was newsy people. And newsy people kept the neighborhood safe. And now everybody's staring at their giant TVs and the internet and Pokemon and everything.
Well, my pet peeve is everybody's walking around with a headset, headphones, or earbuds in their ears.
Or looking down at the ground.
Yeah.
Looking down at the ground.
So they can't hear anything anyway.
I think pretty soon that billboards are going to be on the sidewalk and display panels. That's going to be the future, but they're not paying attention. And when you're not paying attention, you're not participating in the world around you, and you can't outsource your public safety, and you can't outsource all these things, and you have to participate in the quality of your own life.
And they're looking down at their phones too. I mean, and unfortunately, you see people driving and looking down at their phones or texting while they're driving, and it becomes very dangerous. And we need to, as a society, we need to be very conscious of the fact that we cannot encourage that, because not only is it leading to a problem in the roadway, but it's certainly when you're looking down and you're walking around playing Pokemon or whatever they're playing, it's just taken away from your ability to observe what's happening around you, even for your own personal safety, because you need to be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're in certain neighborhoods throughout Pennsylvania, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. There's sometimes when people seem to almost be inviting something to happen to them. And I said on here a while this story. I came home, left my tools in the truck, left the window down, came out. The tools were gone. Nothing was damaged. I donated my tools. Somebody else wanted them more than I wanted to protect them at that moment. I'm not saying it's right, but it's. I participated in that by not doing what I should have. What do you think your legacy will be?
I think people are appreciative of not only, I guess, when you look, my main role, I understand my main role is as a prosecutor, making sure that the cases that come into our office are aggressively prosecuted and that justice is administered. However, I think where the difference is that on the proactive front, for example, we have a very unfortunate situation that has occurred in our society that we speak of today, and that is the scourge of drug addiction and the opioid epidemic. I thought when I put together the Delaware County Heroin Task Force that we would make great strides in seeing numbers reduced over the years. But what we're seeing actually is an increase in opioid abuse. And so when we put the task force together, we rolled up our sleeves. We put very powerful members of the community, of county government. We have judges on there. We have the county commissioners that we call county council. All of these individuals, together with business leaders, parents that have suffered a loss of a child, doctors. And what we were able to accomplish in a relatively short period of time is having, for example, medical drop boxes at every single police station in Delaware County so people can get rid of their unwanted and unused prescription medication that leads to addiction, that leads to theft in many cases. We also put together a very powerful presentation for our students in middle and high schools, telling them how opioid use and opioid addiction leads to heroin use. And then finally, we were able to lobby the legislators and actually have the law changed back in 2015. And Delaware County was the first county to have all of its police officers in municipal police being able to carry the life-saving drug called naloxone, now nasal Narcan. And so far today in Delaware County, over 400 lives have been saved as a result of the police carrying this life-saving drug. So I think we need to continue to roll up our sleeves, not only be reactive, but be proactive, work with community groups. We need to get out there, save lives, get these people into treatment. Let's turn it around. Let's make sure the parents understand that that there is a big link here between prescription drug abuse and heroin, and let's work together to try to resolve this epidemic.
Well, I hope that your successor has half the passion that you do for doing your job, and I hope they carry it out because, unfortunately, I don't see a solution in sight immediately. And you are, like James Brown was the hardest working man in rock and roll. I think you're the hardest working man in the district attorney's office. I mean, sometimes I see you and I get tired watching you on the news because I'm back home and I see you're still out there. But I appreciate everything you've done. You've helped us on many cases. And I'm thankful for all the work we've done together. And I think you do a great job. Your staff does a great job. And is there anything you want to say in closing?
Just that I also want to take the opportunity to thank you, Mark, because you've been instrumental in many cases that we were involved with and dealing with trying to reunite families with their loved ones through your efforts in search and rescue, and have just done a tremendous job. And I've always said to individuals in my office as well as individuals and my colleagues across Pennsylvania that if you have a situation where you need a search and rescue team, that you're certainly the best in the business. And I appreciate everything you've done for us in the Delaware County District Attorney's Office.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank you for coming. And it's great seeing you in a non-emergency capacity.
Well, thank you, Mark.
Take care. Stay safe, stay smart, stay sound. We'll see everybody next week.